We have to talk about accountability, and we have to talk about why it's not a scary thing, why it's such a great tool for self-improvement. We gotta get out of the ego. The ego is the only thing that keeps us from being our best selves, because we don't want to admit when we're wrong. We don't want to own up to our mistakes. We don't want to admit that we could have been better, we could have done better. The ego wants to preserve the idea that it's not our fault. It's everybody else but me. It's the environment, it's the situation, it's the circumstance. I'm just a victim here. Be accountable for yourself. Not because it brings satisfaction to other people to see when you're wrong. No, it's about being accountable for yourself because you want to be better. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does. We're too far into human history to still have to reassure people of that concept. Everybody is flawed. Get over it. Get over yourself of thinking that people think that you're perfect. Nobody thinks you're perfect. So stop trying to preserve that idea. We're all here just doing our best, and it's important that we continually be accountable for everything that happens in our lives so that we maintain the control. Because what happens is people want to make it everybody else's responsibility, everybody else's fault. And when you start doing that, it's because of this, it's because of that. Well, then what kind of power do you have over your life? What kind of power or control do you have in the choices that you're making? I get it that it's hard to eat that humble pie when you're standing in the face of a bunch of people looking at you like you messed up. And you gotta be like, yeah, I did. It doesn't feel good. Of course it doesn't. But being humble is liberating, because now that you can accept the fact that you could have done something different, you could have done something better, now you can actually make the adjustments necessary in order to do that and to be that. Whereas if you're too prideful in being accountable for the situation or whatever it is, you will be resistant to adjust yourself, because now you have to protect your ego. I'm not wrong, it's not me. And that is not solving any problem. It's making a bigger problem, because now you are making the same mistakes on purpose. And that's pretty idiotic. You are in control of your life. There are things that happen that we don't have control over, but we always have control over what we do moving forward. And not enough people want to take accountability for the situations that they're in. And that's why they're stuck. Don't let yourself get stuck because you refuse to take on the role of leader in your life. There's nobody here living your life for you. There's nobody who cares about your life more than you. You are it. So show yourself love and show up for yourself. Even when it doesn't feel fun, those feelings pass quickly. Quickly, when you're willing. I'm saying this from experience. I've had to admit when I was wrong in front of people who wanted me to be wrong. That's hard. And I just did it, and as soon as I did it, because I was wrong. When you can admit it, and just be like, yeah, man, I messed up, my bad. It's over, that's it. Now, you can go do something else. Now you're free to go do the right thing. Sometimes there's situations that aren't entirely our fault, but we know we had a role in it. We know we played a little part in it. Maybe it was the way we reacted or something. And we know that we could have done better. Take the accountability for that. It takes a lot of honesty to sit down with yourself and call yourself out when you need to. It's definitely not something that many people readily want to do, especially at first when you're not used to reflecting on yourself and seeing where you can improve yourself. But if you get into the hang of it, if you get into the habit of always asking, was there something that I did that I could have done better? You know, what am I doing that's contributing to this? What decisions am I making? What habits do I have? What choices am I making that keep putting me into these types of situations? It doesn't mean that you're a bad person because you made mistakes or messed up or have made bad choices for yourself. It doesn't. It just means that you have the potential to be incredibly wise using what you've learned through those experiences. But growth is not spontaneous. It doesn't just happen. You have to choose to learn from the lessons that life gives you. There are a lot of different scenarios that come up in my head when I think of being accountable. I think of the one scenario where it's just like a person's life and they're just miserable and they can't seem to find their happiness, you know, and they blame everybody else for their circumstances but themselves. You have to be accountable and show up for yourself and take control and see what it is you can do. You are so incredibly powerful, and when people blame other people for their life situation, it's lazy and it's such an excuse, and you can't expect people to give you sympathy for that. It's your life. Make it what you want it to be. Don't make it other people's jobs, other people's problems, other people's responsibilities. If you don't like your life, start learning what you can do to change it. And I understand that it doesn't feel that easy when you're not in that emotional space, but do what you need to do to get there. Meditate. Start nourishing your soul, your spirit. Start putting yourself into a better energy so that you can do the physical things, to do the mental things that you need to do. Clean up your room. That's a big thing. Like the first thing I do when I wake up, I make my bed, because it does change the way you feel about the productivity of your day. You know, start small and then it will grow. Another scenario I think of when I think of accountability is like the workplace. When there's a situation at work and everybody's frustrated and upset and they want to blame everybody, everybody's got to take accountability. What was your role in that? It's really easy to try to put the weight on everybody else's shoulders, but it wasn't me. If you're working together with other people, always be ready to share the responsibility in, you know, what's going on, so that the team can move forward. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people feel like, no, you did this wrong and this. Like, don't be like that. You have to be kind in dealing with situations like that. Because if you are being confrontational and aggressive toward people and placing blame on other people, you're just creating more tension. And now you're responsible for the climate of the situation, how people feel, you know? Be accountable for yourself in terms of the role that you are playing in the overall scheme of it all. Don't be an instigator. Be accountable for your actions. Another scenario is like when someone does something to you and then you react. Well, why did you do that? Well, no, because they. Don't do that. How you react, how you respond, the choice that you make in reaction to other people is only up to you. How much self-control do you have? Are you being rational? Be accountable for your actions. It doesn't matter who's poking you with a stick. Don't we tell that to kids? He's bothering me. Well, just ignore him, leave him alone. But if you're a grown-up, no, they were bothering me. No, forget it. Forget that, man. Then we want to act up. Don't be a hypocrite. Be accountable. Emotional intelligence is all about accountability. You're constantly asking yourself, what have I done to get here? How can I be better? And it doesn't always have to be a negative situation. Like, you can be living a very positive life and still be very accountable for yourself when it comes down to, you know, being disciplined and how you carry yourself and, you know, how you are loving yourself and treating other people around you. It's about how you live your life. Be accountable for how you live your life. If you know you don't speak kindly to people, see what you need to heal and how you need to learn patience and kindness and compassion. See how you can learn how to be a better communicator, a more effective communicator, to where you don't need to speak to people in a negative way in order to get the results that you're looking for. Don't blame them for getting on your nerves. Be accountable for how you treat other people. Maybe they're being like that because they don't like the way you talk to them. It's anything. I mean, I'm just pulling random things off the top of my head, but I mean, there's so many people and there's so many different personalities and so many different things that I could say. But when you wake up in the morning, be accountable for who you are, how you spend your energy, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, how you treat the environment. Be accountable for the intentions behind your actions and decisions. Be accountable for everything that you affect on a day-to-day basis. How are you affecting the world around you? Be accountable for that. People should want to be accountable all of the time because it shows that you're in control here. You're the one pushing the buttons, pulling the gears, and you're the one who's making things happen. That should feel good. But I think a lot of people are afraid to be in that position because when it comes down to it and it's just them standing there in the spotlight, like, all right, you're the one it all falls on. People are afraid to deal with the fact that if everything crumbles, everything falls down, it's on them. There's nobody else who's going to take responsibility for it. That's why a lot of people are like very complacent with jobs that don't require a lot of responsibilities, because they don't want the blame, they don't want that kind of pressure. They just want to go in, go to work, and then leave. They don't want to be accountable for stuff. I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just trying to put into perspective like the mentality. When you're the big boss and your neck is on the line, stakes are a lot higher. So it takes a lot of courage to be accountable. But on a personal level, that's who we all are to ourselves. We are all the big bosses of our lives. So we can't be afraid to put our neck out there and take responsibility. And I know sometimes there are situations that are like, man, that's not even my fault. That wasn't even my fault. There are, honestly, situations that happen like that. But it's not about whose fault it was, how things happen. It's about what do you do now? What do you do next? Maybe it was unfair, but you can't fix the past. If you feel like something happened that was truly unfair to you and there's really nothing you can do about it, be accountable in how you handle that situation. But don't be afraid to be accountable. Don't sit around complaining over things you can't control. Don't sit around moping and hoping somebody else does something. Nobody's sitting around waiting to save your day. Be your own Superman and be accountable for everything that happens to you. Have the self-love to want better for yourself. Being a victim is the most powerless thing you can make yourself. Wanting people's sympathy is weak. It's so weak. Don't get trapped in a comfort zone of self-pity. Don't get trapped in the ease of blaming other people. That's so easy and it's cheap. You'll feel better about yourself when you can be accountable, like all the way 100%. No, that's on me. When you can do that, you will start making things happen in your life that you never thought you were able to do because you weren't giving yourself the room to exercise that power. We have unlimited potential. Unlimited. The only limits that we have live within ourselves. What we tell ourselves, what we can and cannot do. Free yourself with accountability by not letting other people dictate the circumstances that you're in, without waiting for other people to fix the circumstances that you're in. Don't live in that. Stay in that place of power because you're worthy of that. Like Moji says, don't be a beggar in your own kingdom. Show up and be accountable for everything that happens. Take advantage of all of the opportunities and, you know, don't wait around for other people to be different, act different. They won't. So have satisfaction in being able to be accountable for yourself.